was John B. Watson? Well, everyone knows him as the father of behaviorism, but the family life he came from, the way he influenced the world, the ways he's influenced me since I've gotten to learn about him. He came from a family where his father left the family as a drunkard, very into his whiskey and women at the age of 13. He was raised in a fundamentalist Baptist family where his mother and his black caretaker in the South raised them to believe that God and the devil were both lurking around every corner, that if he went outside at night in the dark alone, he'd get snatched up by the devil. In fact, that fear followed him throughout his life. He wasn't even able to sleep without a light on at night. But how, as an academic, from an academic perspective, he, at 16 years old, entered college, and 5 years later he got a master's degree from the university where he attended in psychology. And it's very interesting because he felt he was a poor student when he was growing up younger. He felt he was ruthless and reckless, and most of that probably comes from his father because of the example that he had and how fathers are so influential on their children. And when it comes to influencing the psychological world and the study of it, he's known as the father of behaviorism, or the belief that behaviors are directly related through conditioning, or that you can condition behaviors. He had two beliefs in this. One was the classical route, the other was the operant route. The classical route occurred naturally, things that just happened to us, versus the operant route, where you could condition someone through punishments or rewards. He's known for something called the Little Albert experiment that he performed with a colleague or a research associate. He took this 9-month-old boy whose name wasn't even Albert. I'm not entirely sure why he gave the name Little Albert, but he took this young boy, placed things like a small white rat in front of him, or a bunny, or a cotton ball, and just watched the behavior. And his goal was to see if he could implant fear or another emotion through a reaction. In this case, he took a hammer and he banged a noise. He connected the white rabbit and the white rat to the hammer banging. With the experiment, it ended up causing the little boy to be terrified anytime he heard something banging, or anytime he saw this white rat. He would automatically remember, like Pavlov's dogs and the salivating with the dog food and the bell. The young boy would be afraid of anything if it was white and fuzzy, someone's beard, or just a cotton ball or someone's fuzzy sweater. He was never able to recondition it and recondition the boy, and that's why people feel that he was unethical when he performed his experiments, especially including lab rats. So he himself was a genius. He gave a lecture at the university level on behaviorism. He authored several books. One I find is ironic because it was on psychological behavior and the care of infants and children. I find that ironic because he had a terrible relationship with his children, and he led a very free life with women, whereas he was said to be a very attractive man, in fact the most handsome psychologist ever, and that led him to a life of not very fulfilling relationships. In fact, towards the latter end of his life, he burned his journal entries and his page entries, and he died alone. And he's kind of an exemplary of the phrase, "It's lonely at the top." I myself, as a psychology education emphasis, I find him interesting and fascinating, and I didn't know much about him before this chance, but he has influenced me in the fact that he felt he was a poor student and did very well in college. And I myself have always been told by counselors or teachers that I'm not the best student, or that I should look in another field because I'm not going to succeed in the one I'm at. As a future guidance counselor, I know that if I can tell a child that they have the potential, that I believe in them, that they can test it, or they can try any class they want to, they can go to whatever field they want to. I'll be realistic, but I'll be fair. I'll give them that boost, and I know that that's what it takes to succeed. And I know that if I had been given that chance, I probably would have gotten a lot further in school. But now that I realize my potential and I know what I'm capable of, my talents and strengths, I'll be okay. There is one quote that he was famous for, and it's, "Give me a dozen healthy infants, well-informed to my own specified world to bring them up in, and I'll guarantee to take it any at random and train them to become any type of specialist I might select. Doctor, lawyer, merchant, artist, yes, even bigger men. and thief, regardless of his talents, penchants, tendencies, abilities, vocations, and race of his ancestors. So he believed basically that he could just train someone into being whoever he wanted, almost manipulative. I don't believe in manipulation. I believe that we have that ability. So in the academic sense, I hope to follow him. But when it comes to his beliefs in behaviorism and raising a family, I don't want anything to do with the way he lived his life. But John Watson is famous for his accomplishments and the president of the American Psychology Association and vice president of a major advertising firm. But it's still lonely at the top. But John B. Watson, father of behaviorism.